From the outside, guys, let's think about it. If you were someone staying right in the gutters of Alexandria, do you think you would see yourself valuable enough, worthy enough to come to the Adventist church?
Find yourself in spaces in the Adventist church where you access certain spaces because either you're smart enough, either you looking good, or you have financial means, or you are somebody with a lot of influence.
You're saying, we welcome you, good sir. But my question is, who is this person that they should get a special mention?
Yes, we're saying when you have this problem, go and focus on it with your God.
Because what can I ask? What is introspection? Can I ascertain my spiritual condition? Because that's how Christ deals with us. So who on earth do you think you are to tell me?
The Advent Pod SA.
Boys and girls, fellow Adventist Maranatha Masala. Jesu nze atla. Well, you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Advent Pod SA. It is a timely voice broadcasting live from Johannesburg down in Auckland Park, right at the grand opening in Maranatha Masala. Jesu nze atla. Hey, hafisha utasala na. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Advent Pod again right here, and we're about to have an engagement with the young people of the Adventist fraternity. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a controversial topic before us here, gentlemen. Apparently, word has it, rumor has it, that Adventists or the Christian society at large, you guys pretend to be mini Abrahams, mini Esthers, and hallucinating right-hand men of Jesus and of God. But people are saying your hearts are filled with filth and you are cold. And in fact, they have found an alternative. And the alternative is, you know what, after introspection, perhaps groove and going out to bars and clubs. That's where I experience more compassion and love as opposed to the church. But lerato le lengata ka montle. Kota lapha ekhaya kubanzi angazi kuyabanda. Hey, huthi uyabata ka mo kerekeng ya modimo mofuto o mo ka ntle. But you guys just speak about this God, but in reality, you are heathens. Well, I'm not running this ship alone. I'm with my right-hand man here. Can kindly introduce yourself?
Right, as introduced, I'm Kahano Sidupane, and yeah.
My good sir.
My name is Muledi Ntibeti.
Yes.
And I'm Kano Pidane.
Kano Pidane. I see we're having diversity, guys. Tswana, Sotu, okay. We have the Vanda man there, but anyway, that's fine. So, guys, I think fellow SDASMites and young professionals, I'll bring it to you now that when you look at the Adventist church, we epitomize classicism and being an elitist. I'll tell you why. Apparently in the Adventist church, for you to make it, we look at who you are, where you work, how you dress, who you know. Let's talk about the classism in the church.
Yeah.
So, okay. I've been a little bit, let me say, privileged enough not to see the classism in the church, right? I thought I was ignorant of it, right? When people would say, you know what, people that at this church see you based on class. I'm like, no, I engage with everyone. And they seem to be accommodative to me. But I was told that, remember, who is your father?
Wait, who's your father?
Remember, who's your father? I'm like, okay, but I mean, my father is normal. They're like, hey, chief, you attend events. That's also counts, right? So all those things is there in the church. Like people are saying, no, because I come from a poor background, I run a family at the church. When I go to a church, I'm non-existent to other people, right? But someone, you could arrive at a church and you could find, or I just arrived at a church and there'll be an announcement that Carmel just arrived, right?
So hence they accommodate you.
They accommodate because of
where you come from,
where I come from, and all those things. But it's not like that to everyone else. So it is true. The Adventist church does look at you based on who is your parents or what have you done in life.
KJ can come in there.
No, definitely. Elitism defines access, right? So basically, you find yourself in spaces in the Adventist church where you access certain spaces because either you're smart enough, either you are looking good, or you have financial means, or you are somebody with a lot of influence. Right. So your access to those spaces really depend on those things. And without those things, you sort of, wallow into non-existence. And so I think the church you've heard these things, sort of Masabata Barato, they dress very nice, they speak very, very powerful English and all these things. And these things,
I'm guilty. Eh?
yeah, we're also guilty of it. But, and I think it I don't know how it plays out, but it just creates a sense of, we are trying to fill a void here in this church, but some people feel their voids must be more filled than others.
There's an egotistical play in the Church of God. Muledi, I think, well, you're not from the vestry, right? In the church, you're saying you're from the vestry. You come from the outside. And I'm trying to think. I'm a third generation Adventist, so I don't know. It's normal for me, right? It's normal, From the outside, guys, let's think about it. If you were someone staying right in the gutters of Alexandra, do you think you would see yourself valuable enough, worthy enough to come to the Adventist church? Because first of all, look at our dress code. Look at your name. Hey! Right, I'm yeah, guys. So yes. So I'm just showing you the elitist. We've been incorporated. We are not aware, but you can already see. Because even your standard of me having to be a preacher is elitist in nature. Because I must wear a tie. God knows where I will get the money. So it is only those who have access to socio-economic elevation who can mount the pulpit. Listen.
Yeah, as you said, right, I'm basically a convert of the church, right? But firstly, a convert of God. What I want to say is that I did have an experience coming into the church, right? And I will tell you, this is not an Adventist problem uniquely. This is a Christian problem, right?
Okay.
I come from a church that raised me up, loved that church because of who it made me. So that the Adventist church could get the best of me, right? What I will say is that in the church that raised me, if you were from a certain family, holding a certain position, every time when the pastor comes to preach, you will be, Mr. Kano, I see you, welcome me. Because of who you are, right? So then I joined God's remnant people. And God's remnant people, to me, did not seem any different. Because even within the remnant church, I still see, right, that who you are says something. To the extent that even when you're not in the program, because you are there, right, you can literally sit at the back, and then the pastor or the preacher, let's say the preacher, has his notes, right? You are not in his notes. But he realizes that you are there, and because you are there, he feels the urge, the need to mention you and say, we welcome you, good sir. But my question is, who is this person that they should get a special mention and the rest of the congregants don't get a special mention? And one person can say it is because of what they have done. But I argue that in most cases, it's not what they have done for God and for the church, it's rather what social occupancy they have.
Hey guys, you're agreeing, eh? So it's a lived experience. It's not a fallacy or, a myth. Now, gents and ladies and gentlemen, you're going to come through the questions. I'm thinking when you look at the book of Luke, right? You see Jesus Christ chilling with the sinners, right? The scribes and so forth. When you look at the book of Luke, in fact, you look that it's a book for the rejected, the dejected, and the ejected.
Yeah.
But now when you come to us, the church is supposed to be a place where you are accepted. But now you are where you are rejected. How can we better fix that?
I think it's a challenging one, because we have this whole concept that because Jesus went and mingled with sinners, where were the sinners and where was Jesus located? Did Jesus remove the sinners from the place where they were for him to mingle with them, or did he mingle with them in the places where they were? I think that's the challenge we have, because I think talking to that question of clubs being more compassionate and being more accepting to people, why is it that we frown upon clubbing, we frown upon the existence of them, but we don't want to go there and be missionaries? Why?
Wait.
But
Hey, so wait. No, just to make sure that I understand him.
Yeah.
You are saying we should, instead of criticizing the clubs and their existence, we should go inside the clubs. Oh, Nkosi, can I have a volunteer this evening to go? They cannot go. So
Why? Because of elitism. And what's the why? Because of elitism.
So it's bringing a different dimension, yeah.
So your reasoning of us not going is because, okay, I just want to get you. Are you saying we're not going there because we think we're more elite than those that are there?
It's possible.
No. So we're not going there to be there. We're saying we're going there
As missionaries.
as missionaries to flex.
Yeah, well, that's
So my brother says don't tempt God.
But guys, but what he's saying, Munele, attention, sorry. What is, I think what you're saying is a concept I agree with. We have become, the Bible teaches contact without contamination.
Yeah.
But now we have made existence in isolation our modus operandi as Adventists. You are born in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah.
You understand? So can you talk about that phenomenon of, before we go there, I need to address, how do we change the church to be accepting?
So the easy way to change the church to be accepting, right, is for the church to get off its high horse, right? And understand that it is a redeemed church, right? So God says to the Israelites, treat the slaves well, because you were once slaves yourself, right? Treat the stranger well because you were once slaves in Egypt, right? If I understand that I was saved from an environment, and I personally can say that, right? I cannot look down upon those who are in the same environment, right? So there still needs to be a point of contact between me and them for ministry, not for influence either, in both ways. So yes, the church has to be in contact with the outside world, right? But of course, the church needs to know that it's going there to influence, right? But I think the problem that we have, especially now, is that the world is so clearly demarcated that when you step into a certain environment, that it's no longer a conducive ground for evangelism. For one, the club has loud music. How are you going to preach? Right? Let's be practical about it, right? However, what you can be able to do is to see the people that frequent the clubs and talk to them in a conducive environment.
All right.
So I argue that if Jesus was here today, he would be speaking to the conquests,
But
he would not be in God.
All right, food for thought. It's different. I get you, gentlemen. But let me just take you then into self-introspection, and even you, ladies and gentlemen, Adventists. Let's introspect a bit on your life, Kano. When you introspect on your journey through the salvific, experience, do you think you're a mini Abraham and a hallucinating right-hand man of Jesus, but you have a filthy and a cold heart? In other words, is your speech of an angel, but your acts of a demon?
That's a hard one. So let me hide behind a saying in my culture. Moral this one, right? So I might be doing something that is chasing someone away. I might be doing something that is bringing someone closer to God. I don't know, right? So that's hence I'm saying moral this one. You cannot. A finger cannot point itself, so I cannot know what I'm doing. Only someone on the outside can tell me that if he does, how you do things sometimes make people think that, you know what, I'm not worthy of this God, right? So on that ground, right, when I look at my life, I would say personally, right, from which is biased. That's why I'm saying I'm biased on self, right? To say when I look at myself, I believe I'm.
So no one has ever complained about you in the church.
No.
I mean, at no point. At no point.
The complaints that I've had in the church, right?
For example,
was when I was in SDASM leadership.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was in SDASM leadership 2021, the complaints were I was too hard on the saints. Right. That was the complaints that I had. Right. But from someone, so you see, from someone it was not something that says you are too hard on us, we are leaving the Adventist church. Right. It's you are too hard on us. We understand why you are too hard on us, but there's a better way of doing things. Right. So maybe someone from the outside can say, maybe someone who's out there to say, what you did that other day made me realize that the Adventist church is not for me. If someone out there is there, they can say, is there someone who maybe if in here or so to say what you did made me see the Adventist church not as a good place.
Right. So you don't think you think you've been representing the gospel
as far as I know.
All right. KG. But now there's people are crying here.
Yeah.
Because now as leaders, as members of the church, instead of you acting as a bridge between a church member and the church, you have built a stumbling block between the believer and the church. In your introspection, have you done such? Or have you seen such?
I think I've seen it. I've seen it especially where members of the church sort of relegate or sideline certain people because of the choices they've made. And it's not even terrible choices. So you get young people who say we're gonna sing this type of music in this particular church, and the whole church literally turns against them and says they're not gonna support their music. I've experienced that personally at my home local church. But those are the things where you would think that people perhaps that you might have been with at the time who were maybe young in their spirituality could have felt a dent on that, because the church is basically rejecting that which they're trying to, proclaim and like trying to sing for the Lord and things like that. And so it's quite damaging if you ask me. That's what I've seen.
So okay, it's fine. Have you acted as a stumbling block or a bridge?
My first question is, are you also going to introspect? Okay. Honestly, no, right? I am not one to stand and say that I have a perfect record. I think it is in, actually stumbling that we are built, right? And what I will say is one of the ways, and I've been told this quite clearly, that I need to work on it, is that sometimes at church, I'm not able to read the room, right? In that the person may be experiencing the thing that I'm talking about, truthful as it may be, could be affected in a negative way because of how I articulated the matter, right? So, thankfully, I'm working on it, made good progress, right? But then I found that sometimes people can literally come to you and be like, yeah, but did you have to say it that way? And then we can actually have a discussion. So I'm an open person. If you feel like I said something in a
Better way.
in a way that is amiss, then we can actually be able to fix that. But also, I think one way in which I have been a stumbling block is the way that I talk also to people that are outside the church. In that they don't find it relatable, right? So I've had to look and say that when I was outside the church, how would I have preferred for a 7-day Adventist to talk to me about the Sabbath, right? To talk to me about the state of the day and all of those things. So I've actually become a more compassionate person in that, of course, I used to be where they are, right? So thankfully, it's something that, having learned it, I think my evangelistic efforts have been
working.
enhanced.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, guys, I'd implore of us to be more practical now. The reason why young people are finding maybe groove as a therapy, all right? They're saying, man, I'm treated as filth because it had been found out that I'm sleeping with someone outside of marriage. I am regarded as subhuman because I've fallen pregnant out of wedlock. I am treated as nothing because I do not tithe. You find the plethora of events happening in this church. Let's take me through it. Have you experienced such, and what is the solution? Because in my view, guys, I don't think we should be punitive when it comes to dealing with members. But you've got, okay, I don't think you need to punish people. All right, yeah. Guys, no, I'm teaching you guys to go. sorry. You see, now you know it's punitive. But I need us to be a rehabilitating church and not a punishing church. It's my view. All right? Because that's how Christ deals with us. So who on earth do you think you are to tell me that I'm not worthy to serve my Savior? It's my view. You understand? That we should look to say, how do we then rehabilitate the human being and not punish them? Yeah. So do you think, okay, let me ask you now. If we find out that you have impregnated Norma, I don't know who Norma is. Norma, I don't know if you impregnated Norma, ne? Yeah. How best can we do with her? Do we sanctuary her? Yeah.
So this issue of sanctuary, right? It has been a problem for me since 2018. Right. In 2018, that's where in my local church we had a large amount of sanctuary, a very large.
What was happening?
So a few cases. There's other guy. So there was another guy who. This was what scratched me a lot, right? So there's another guy who is cohabiting, for a lack of a better word, right? He gets so this is the thing. He get a lady pregnant outside that religious church. They now stay together. He comes back to that religious church. They baptize him. So something along the line, they now say that the woman you're staying with does not come to church, and you guys don't get married. So for that, we are sitting aside. Right. So that one it scratched me. I didn't understand. So that's when I was introduced to the issue of the sanctuary will under this church. So I didn't understand why. Until I had a conversation with my good friend Kahan, right? He explained it, but I'm not really convinced with this explanation. But it at least gave me some idea. Like, so this explanation is simple. You are living in sin. As we see it. Yeah. So as the church we're seeing Mukwena living in sin. Because
who can I ask? Who gave you the jurisdiction to ascertain my spiritual condition?
Yes. So the issue is, yes. So this is what happened. So there are two faults. What we are seeing, and if Mukwena continues to be, I think it's more of the text that Paul says that if you find eating meat that is sacrificed to the idols, not wrong. You can do it. But if it will make Kahana fall, for the sake of Kahan, don't do it.
Don't eat meat at all.
Can I ask?
So listen. Let me continue.
Yeah.
So what from the church perspective is, we are seeing Mukwena doing this as a church elder or as a church leader. The people in the congregation seeing that get emboldened to sin because they say the leadership is in sin. Is that fact? We have heard that a lot. That you guys, you come preach, but after Sabbath, you go sin. Right? Which embolden them to also sin. And there was also a part of saying, we are not saying we are saying, Mukwena, you have this problem. Go and focus on it with your God without us giving you a burden of leading the people of God. We want you to focus on your problem with God alone. We want you to have a time with God without the struggle of leading the people of, because leading the people of God is also tolling. So without giving you this toll, we want you to also focus on yourself.
Cool. Guys, by the way, the questions I'm asking, I'm representing everyone. I might be agreeing with them. Just a disclaimer. Now, a person will ask you,
Yes.
I've been hearing about weaker brethren since I was born. The question is, when do these weaker brethren get strong?
Okay. Let me engage in that one. I think I will bring it back also to the groove discussion, which is where we are. Right? Guys, the weaker brethren must get stronger. Do we agree?
Amen.
But you are not the one who gives the people strength. But do not be the source of weakness. You understand? So what I'm basically saying is that if the weaker brethren are influenced negatively by you, God will hold you accountable. Because he says to you that if the wicked does not turn from his ways, I will look at the watchman and put the blood of the wicked on the watchman. Right?
Oh,
So that means that I don't just stand there and I say they are the weaker brethren, and therefore if they saw me eating pork, then it's their issue. Right? So they should see a good witness from me, right? So I have a responsibility, and I'm not saying I'm part of the stronger brethren, but in the cases where I am, I would rather that they saw strength from me, not that they saw a reason to stay in weakness, right? So I start from the premise that we all were once weaker brethren until we saw someone becoming strong in the Lord, and we followed that.
all right, ladies and I think we can reach a consensus, right? That if something is wrong, it's wrong.
Yes.
But the way in which we deal, because I'm not condoning all of these atrocities, social, those things. But there should be a more positive way to deal with it. For example, if I be caught now that I have a child out of wedlock, do you think, which one would you prefer, man? Being sanctioned or put aside, or is there a better way to do it? But it's fine. I'm going to open the floor to the audience for now at this point in time so we can get a bit of, yes, sir.
Okay, so let me say this. The church is a company.
Yes, sir.
Similar to how Microsoft works as a company. If there is a senior member or even an employee within Microsoft that is accused of rape, that person is suspended until such a time that they are proven innocent. Correct? Because you cannot have an employee, or rather, a senior manager that is accused of rape still operating and representing the company.
Let's bring it into disrepute.
So let me tell you, so in the church, if my pastor is accused of of having a child outside wedlock, if we keep him there, we are essentially saying it's fine. So when Loyal comes and he has 4 kids, God forbid, outside it's okay.
Yeah.
Because then my next argument, and my only valid argument will be, umfundisi uMkwena uyenzile. Akayikhawula. So uyakhawula umuntu not because uthi uyanyanyisa noma asifuni noma to associate yourself ourselves with you and your distasteful sin. But we are saying ukuthi these are the values that we represent. And if you don't follow them, we can't follow you into sin now.
So
sorry. So just point number 2, right? And then in regards to people who leave the church because they were judged or they didn't find what they were looking for, I think if you want to leave the church, you're old enough to leave and not drag us into it. You leave church here, you go to groove. You leave church because Idahuno judged you. You go to group, they shoot you, you get fired, you go back to group to celebrate that you are fired. So my point is, and if you stand by your values, you'll find this. You go to work to get employed, you get to work, there are people who are constantly trying to get you fired. But you still go back because you need remuneration. So apply that same mindset of consistency and perseverance in church. If you want to Don't say through your.
Hey, if you want to leave, but you must leave. But I get your leadership. Yeah, as an excuse to that. Because I hear you. But don't you think as the leaders of tomorrow, right? I'm just imploring everyone in here. I agree. Sin must be dealt with. But I think compassionately for me, right? I'm not in disagreement with dealing with it. But don't you think there's another way more rehabilitative than ostracizing? We can have an engagement about that. So I saw hands. I don't know if you guys help me.
Who was that hand first?
Who? Why was I given that?
He's the first hand.
Okay. Down. Sorry, I was just making sure. Sorry.
Okay. First of all, I think I should just explain. First of all, according to classroom or the church, failing to be the whole church. First of all, people complain about sanctuary. Have you read about sanctuary in the church? Was as far as I read, I mean about sanctuary in the church manual. It's basically we're saying you have seen on your point. So we as the church, we are there to help you as our brethren. We carry you. If you read the church manual, censure wasn't meant to be a passion.
Yeah.
You can go and read, and if you get that point, come back to me and explain to you. What is read about censure? It's all about helping you in your sins. You get that? So the church is there to help you. Listen, and the problem with us is that we are too comfortable with our sins. Listen, if we read John chapter 15, verse 2 says, from verse 1 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. Every branch that beareth fruit, he page it. That it may bring it may bring fruit. That it may bring forth more fruit. So listen, in heaven, we cut the person to fit the garment. We don't to feed them.
Thank you, sir.
So we tell you about your sins. We get it. About the things that you're doing, whether it's dressing, whether it's whatever we tell you. The problem with us is that most of the time when we just okay, fine. When we are in church, when they talk about those vows, you're just saying, I do.
Yeah.
Go back and feed them. And understand so that we don't have problem with you taking problem with you offering. And when you talk to people where you go, this voice is that my sheep. You understand? My sheep hear my voice. Is it
Oh, hey, come on, watchman. Hey, the watchman of Zion is speaking in this house. It's getting heated in the house. Guys, you have to help me. I don't know who went first. Guys, if you're going to be honest.
Just take two hands. Two hands.
Yeah?
Take only 2 hands. Then we'll
Okay, I'm going to cut this. Guys, going to have more. Can I cut this session to 3? Yes, ma'am.
I feel like this is my opinion.
Yes.
The issue comes in when we weigh certain sin more out.
Oh, yeah.
Forget that sin is equal.
All right.
Sure. If you lie to a person, you murder a person. That sin is equal to actual God. Not you murdering that person is higher sin than you lie. So in my opinion, you can't. Also, when you sin, for example, I hope I get out with up. God forbid. I hope I get out with up, right? You cannot. You can tell me, pull me to the side and say, okay, you've sinned. You did 1, 2, 3. That's a sin. But it's another thing for you to judge me for what I've done, because you yourself are not pure. You yourself are sinful. In the Bible says, if you say you are sin, you are a liar. Because everyone is sin, and sin is evil. So you can't say I'm not sinful.
So you're saying this is a phenomenon of sinners judging other sinners for sinning differently.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, it's me. I hear you. I hear all of you guys. I'm not allowed to have a view.
One more.
So, guys, we're gonna come back. Okay, brother. Then for the next we'll take you now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I want to comment on two aspects.
Yes, sir.
I want to comment on the section, then I'll go back to classism. Can I go back?
Yeah, 1 minute though. In one. 1 minute next. In 1 minute, yes.
Okay, so I'll start with about to classism.
Yes, sir.
So in Acts 2, okay, let me just contextualize the thing. So in you guys are saying that like we have issues of classism whereby when you come to church, certain people are given like an elevated treatment over others. Then my answer to that is Acts 2. Next to there was a story of there was a situation whereby there were two groups of Jews, Hellenistic Jews and the Greek Jews. And the Hellenistic Jews are complaining that our widows aren't being taken care of in terms of milk distribution or like food distribution in the same manner as the Hebraic Jews.
Right.
So in the end, the apostles came together and they're like, okay, let's appoint 7 men of wisdom and good character who will be able to treat everyone equally when it comes to food. So what I'm saying is you can implement similar things in church. For example, you go to certain churches and no one even greets you. You know, so you can implement systematic or systemic changes to address those class challenges. For example, you can like implement ushers to just talk to people like greet visitors when they come. Can I just quickly
Yes, you may, sir.
touch on censure? So I want to reply to my sister over there. So the thing is, sin isn't equal. Sin is not equal.
Oh, wait, let me make it clear. So you're saying sin is not equal?
Yeah.
Or you're saying the effects of sin are not equal?
I'm saying sin itself.
Okay, kindly for me. Okay, it's fine, guys. It's fine. Yeah, fine. Brother, yes, I hear you. Bro, can you just, for the sake of the brethren, substantiate it with the text?
In scripture, you find, I can't find, okay, for example, in scripture, you find the word saying, blaspheming the Holy Spirit is an unforgivable sin, meaning it's bigger in magnitude or seriousness than a lie.
All right.
Right? And, okay, so sin isn't equal in multiple senses. One, certain sins are internal, others are external. So you're also dealing with optics as the light of the world. The Adventist church is the light of the world. So if I lie, okay, let's say I think that thoughts, right, sexually immoral thoughts in my home. No one outside there, no one looking at the Adventist church sees those sins, right? But then if I go and kill someone, like the public is actually watching, so that sort of like affects our reputation.
Got you,
So,
man. Yeah, let's say we're running out of time, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So, but I think you're agreeing with Loyolo, ne? In terms of saying what you do as a human being, it puts the church into disrepute. Yeah, so I don't know what to call it. We're gonna come back, guys. It's an ad break. In the meantime, please visit APK's SDASM if you don't have any church. So we are about to have a song by Relentless Praise. Well, it is the Advent Pod. I say once more, a timely voice reporting live from Auckland Park, APK, and it is part 2 at this point in time. Thank you for the engagement, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to wrap up now. The bone of contention, gentlemen, is people go to clubs, right? Thirsty, but they come back. Say drunk. Well, the bone is we go to groove, right? As humanity, drunk. As we, I'm saying humanity, not me. Could never be me. Well, let me rectify it for the weaker brethren. The people are saying they are going to groove thirsty. But they come back now quenched and wasted. I don't want to be biased, man. You understand? So we go to groove. I'm saying we again, but I'm trying to, it's fine. Yeah, you know it. Yeah.
For the sake of the wake up,
Come again? Yeah, so people go to groove like that, right? Thirsty, they come back quenched. But I come to church hungry. Right, and I still go back to an empty stomach. Although there are actuaries in here, although there are lawyers in here, accountants, economists, and so forth. Can you speak about that?
Okay. So I'll speak on it on different foods. Right. So let me start at the church. Right. So there are a few reasons why, right, people might come to church and go back hungry. So for context, right, and again I'll say this. I'm saying this from the outside. I've never went to church with a lunchbox in my entire adult life. I've never went to a church with a lunchbox. At some point, in my family, I was the only one going to church. I've never went home hungry.
Okay. In the Adventist
church. I've never went with food. I've never went hungry. All right. So this is what happens that I've realized. It's okay. The reasons why. Maybe there's someone I know there or someone who knows me. Now it's because I'm known as Carlo who interprets. Right. So there's that. But one thing that I've realized is, depending on the church structure, so there are churches we say we all eat together, like what we do in SDASM.
Yes.
We all come with food, eat together. And there are churches that says each family will eat on their own. Right. So when we all eat together, if you go back hungry, that's even a problem. Because when everyone was going to eat, you didn't go.
Okay, cool.
Right. Then in the ones where it's families, I think, because I don't know. The issue is if he's hungry and we're not asking, and I see him leaving, my assumption is he's going to eat at home. There's that assumption. He is going to eat at home. And now let me go to the Grove. I've never been to the Grove. So I'm speaking from
theory.
I'm speaking from theory. So everything I'm saying now is theory. Right? So what I've realized so this is what happens in the group. Theoretical. I get it. People buy you drink because of what you give them.
All right. All right.
Get me right. People buy you drink because of what you give them. One, if I go to a club and so let's go, I go to a groove, I don't have money. I find Kahano there. Kahano is most likely going to buy for me a bottle of alcohol because he knows. So he's most likely going to buy me because he knows that when he does not have, I'll buy him. There's that perspective. They know that I'll get drunk because they know that the day that I have money, they are going to get drunk. So there was this culture that so there's this 350 social grant, right? So there was this culture back home where we are 4 gangs. We get it's a weekly thing. So to say this weekend we are going to drink my money. Next weekend we are going to drink his money. My grant. Yes, 350 grant. So there's that. So there's that element of what am I when I buy you drinks, what will I get in return? So also it happens when guys buy ladies drink. That's what most people is common. What am I getting in return? So the question is that love or is that a transaction?
All right.
Just to piggyback on his point, right? So there's this sense that we conflate kindness with a false sense of generosity, a generosity which is actually selfish in nature. So the reason for the generosity is not for kind, grand purposes or betterment of the individual, development of the individual. It's for the destruction of the individual. Because if you're going to be there and you say to a lady, you buy her a glass of drink and you then, carpool home, obviously the carpooling home, all those gestures are basically not to elevate the lady's life. You're going there to destroy her life. So basically, your false sense of generosity exists in clubs, right? It exists, but it can't be conflated as kindness, warmth, and compassion, in my view.
All right, because they would say, Baba, there's more love, compassion. We take care of each other. You know, you go there without a car, but I tell you now, uzofika ekhaya. But kota lapha esontweni, I'm driving my 7-seater. But as I drive out of the church, I'm the only one driving, and I know you stay in my neighborhood. But we can go there. Let's leave that one for now. Let's talk about, is the love there? And maybe are you gonna tell us from theory or from from reality?
All right. Let me explain. Right.
Yeah.
I told you guys, I was not born in the church. Right. I'm speaking from experience.
Yes, sir.
I was never a groovist, but I used to drink alcohol. Right. Let me explain alcohol culture.
Okay.
Right.
From experience. From experience. Not theory.
I will tell you, it is transactional. I will also tell you that there is camaraderie in it. There is what can be mistaken to be love. It looks like love, right? But here's the problem. If we are talking about this love in a Christian setting, let's qualify it, right? Because if we go together as 4 gents, let's say the 4 of us go to the bar together, right? We are going to make sure that the 4 of us have something to drink, right? That is the love that we talk about. That my guy cannot have nothing to drink when I have something to drink, right? The problem is that this bond that we have between us, right, is between us. If you want to say there is love at Groove, let it be all across Groove. Because one thing that I know in my past life is that I would definitely make sure that my guys are fine, right? But if one person crashes into my guy just passing, shoulder to shoulder, the guy is not fighting, but because he bumped into my friend, the way that I interact with the guy that bumped my friend is not love. So how are we saying it's love when it is limited? How are we saying it is love when it is only the people that you came with that you can express this love to? But with others, you are ready with your fist. It's not love. But now, also when it comes to the carpooling, yes, at church people don't give it. But I maintain, when you get into that car after group, right? Yes, they picked you up. But how sure are you that they're going to drop you off where you're going, right? So how is it love when it endangers you, right? So it is a false sense of love that we are seeing there. Now, can the church do better? Certainly the church can do better, and I'm sure we're going to come
there.
Yes.
So the church can definitely do better. Because guys, I was telling the church the other day, do you know how many, that's why on the podcast we have Adventists in corporate guys, right? Because now what I've realized is we've got powerful people in corporate as Adventists. You find an HR manager at KPMG, you find it at what is it, EW is an Adventist. But here graduates, they don't know where they're going next year. Do you understand that? It's like our love is limited to praise and worship, sermons, and afterwards we don't care about each other. Now, I see you guys are avoiding it. That's fine. I am saying the church. I'm saying the church. I hear you are eradicating the groove and so forth. That's fine. Right? Now, someone will say, I hear people are coming to church hungry. They don't have, food or electricity. Yeah. Someone will say in this audience that we don't come to church to eat. Church is not a restaurant. You understand? They're saying, well, they are going to clubs because clubs are created for that. Leisure, to drink. You understand? So someone will say, Chief, I don't come to church to feed you. Is this not a restaurant? In fact, it's a hospital for sinners.
Okay, so let me engage it from experience this time around.
Okay.
Right. So when my father got into the Adventist church, right, it was because of Pastor Mahamba. Right. So my father was from a poor background. Right. He was intelligent, so they say. Pastor Mahamba says, I will cover your fees for you to go to school. What you have to do is just help out in the garden. My father saw this and said, this guy is covering my need, my then need. And for that, I want to know this God that he said. Then my father went to the Adventist church because someone covered his immediate need of hunger and money for school. And it goes beyond that. So there's a lot of examples I will give when it comes to the old man, Pastor Mahamba. Pastor Mahamba, there's also another guy who he adopted. And he says, when he says this, he said, I never told him anything about the Adventist gospel. I never preached to him. But one day he came to me and he said, I want to get baptized. Right? Because I've shown him the love. Yes, we are saying church is not but we must deal with people's needs in the church. Christ says, I was hungry and you did not feed me. Right? So us saying church is not a place where we come to eat. I cannot concentrate, even at school if I'm hungry. I cannot concentrate on the lecture. You can't expect me to listen to your sermon when I'm hungry. Right?
Because they would say, it's fine. I hear you guys are speaking about, they say, you know what, the church is for those who are hungry in spirit. Those who, they thirst for righteousness. Why not to work at the
No, we have to speak about the physical needs as well as the spiritual. I think it would be amiss of us. It would be amiss of us to just speak of the spiritual, right? When Jesus was finished with his sermon, where he was with the 5,000, right? He realized that, okay, something is missing, right? These people can't just go home after hearing my powerful sermon. Let's organize something. And Jesus says, okay, can we organize something? The disciples say, there's nothing here. They find something, they find the boy comes through, and Jesus performs the miracle for food. What Jesus understood and realized that after spiritual, resuscitation, if I can put it that way, you need to be physically, fed. So, yeah, you can't expect people to just come here and listen to spiritual niceties and then they just leave and go home.
Food. Yeah, that's so true, guys. Because someone has said, I hear you guys are speaking about Jesus of the Spirit, but does Jesus care about my stomach?
He does.
You understand? Because we preach so much prophecy, so much eschatology, hermeneutics, but we don't bring forth the reality. But now let me get you guys into introspection. Now we are all SDASMites or professionals, right? Let me ask, you have friends in the church, right? We have friends in the church, right? Let me ask you, since you claim that you are this Adventist, I'm going to ask you where you are to introspect. When was the last time you asked, not you were told by an ex-com or by a group message that someone is in need of something? When was the last time you asked a fellow SDASMite, have you had something to eat last night? Number 2, when was the last time you asked them, do you have electricity? Do you have a bus fare? When was the last time you asked someone from the church? And I need you to name, no. What name? It's fine. Yeah, that's it. And I don't, no philosophy, nothing. I need you to tell me, when was the last time you did it?
Yeah, so I think that I don't really record my good deeds, man. So I'm scrambling here, right? I'm trying to find something.
I think if you do it frequently, you won't have to scramble.
Well, that's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it. But I assure you, it's because Christ said the left hand was not prayer. That's basically why I don't really like recording. But let me give you an example, right? So let me start with SDASM, right? So one thing that I realized last year, right, when I was leading the gents, the men of vets, was that a lot of people were not really coming forward with their financial problems. So it's very easy for them to come to us seniors and say, can you please explain this passage of scripture, right? But then it was clear, especially because I'm also the captain of the soccer team, right? And then I asked them to contribute 50 Rand towards buying some resources. The reluctance to give 50 Rand was concerning, right? So if these guys are not able to give 50 Rand, probably there's something that is wrong in terms of where they are financially. So I thought about that and I was like, okay, how can we actually reach these people? So I actually talked to the seniors. It was a meeting where we were all there and I was like, gents, I think one of the things that is clear is that there are financial challenges. But the problem is you don't know who has these financial challenges. So I committed resilience without their condition because I know in terms of the financial ability where postgrad and undergrad are at university, right? So I basically said, guys, I need you to commit right now that these guys who are undergrads should feel comfortable asking for to meet their necessities, right? And basically, I created a flex between postgrad and undergrad to say, if you have a need, right, there's camp coming up and you need someone to replace the needs, then you can approach the postgrad. And I think that actually does that positive results.
All right. So I did this in my, and I'll go from where it's like, so right now, I have that, and I don't like that. Right. So, being that, my responsibility is to make sure that, satellites are well, set and they are well connected to the online. So I think what I would like to say, is we have long-term goals, essentially, what you need now, it should be something that you need now. And not being fit against that, I said to the officer leader, find me the myth that you have established. Right? What you guys need now is that we can hold source funds for that we can have. Right? And he did not know. And it's not because there's no need. Right? It's because there's also, even if I'm needing, I most likely going to try to have because I know I'm comfortable trying to have. Right? So it's also an issue of even if we want to help, then we don't see it as a safe space to ask for help. And I can't go to every that's asking, did you eat yesterday? Yeah. You see, it's something that is hard to do. It's weird. It's weird. Right? I mean, I just come to you. She is yesterday. I just come to you and say, you think you eat yesterday? You see how big that sounds. I'm saying, so to solve this issue, the brother is gone, right? We need to make structurally a little make the structural system to say, for example, at that study, we have talks of hope where we say if you have land visions, the film is about someone that doesn't have to go and take from that. Right. So asking people one on one to say, do you have? Do you have? That's the fact. But making a structure to say that as does it, those that have more than others who contribute to this purpose. And those that don't have can come and take from that. Okay. The same way as those alternatives.
All right. Before we open up the floor, just as we conclude, I'm gonna ask you guys just a few questions. Right? How can we live the church in the 21st century much more loving, much more compassionate, and this church is grouped better than church in terms of fellowship? Yeah. How do we make the church more loving, more compassionate? I think it is when we start really living as Christ would, not avoiding the spaces Christ wouldn't avoid, not trying to be pretentious with our faith. Yeah. Because one thing is common in clubs and church is that people pretend. You pretend yourself to be happy, pretend in church to be happy. Everyone is seeking fellowship, fellowship in clubs, fellowship in each other. Everyone is seeking to fill a void. It's not that the void they're feeling that help you to this collection, but the one here, at least it can give you some eternal life. So let's try to have spaces and churches that cultivate us, that develop us into better human beings. So we don't just become spiritual human beings, we become wholesome human beings.
So, yeah, so that is fellowship better in the group than in church. I don't think there's a reason to compare them, because obviously the group fellowship is not leading to Christ, right? But let me say this: the church needs to be more of a safe space. It needs to be more of a home, right? That we cannot run away from. And I believe that one of the ways that we can do that, right, is to just pour out of your cup that it's running through the spine. It's very simple, right? I will also say that, guys, please lower your expectations of fellow church members. But heighten the expectations that you yourself have
for how intelligently is done for other people's minds. So let it be personal to say that God, if you bless me, I will be a Daniel and I will go after the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. If you bless me. So I should not be that one who is always complaining. So and so didn't give me a little bit always saying the same place, right? Let's not bring the entitlement. Right? So let's not feel angry when people did not direct their resources towards us. But let's be angry with ourselves if we see a need that we could have missed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open the last round of questions to the floor. My good sir.
Yeah.